the pledge and remain standing for a moment of silent meditation in thought of Paul Ansett. And could you lead us in the pledge, Legislator Ushadel? Be seated.
Tonight's announcements, fire evacuation plan. Please note that in the event of an emergency, the fire department has requested that legislators and all others move to the adjacent parking lot in order not to impede the firefighters in their duties. Cell phones, please silence cell phones for the duration of the session. Microphones, please be reminded to use your microphone when speaking so that you are recorded for the official record. Roll call. Archer. Bartels. Here. Bruno. Here. Cahill. Here. Corcoran. Here. Criswell. Here. DeLon. Donaldson.
Here.
Fabiano. Cuveris. Green. Here. Haynes. Here. Hefner.
Here.
Litz.
Here.
Lopez.
Here.
Mayo. Here. Parity.
Here.
Petit. Here. Roberts.
Here.
Ronk.
Present.
Uchitel.
Here.
Walter. Here. And Worrell. Here. There are 21 present and 2 absent.
Alrighty, tonight we do have some birthdays. We have Legislative Counsel Victor Corva, and July 5th is Legislator Eve Walter, and July 7th Legislator Tracy Bartels. I'd entertain a motion to dispense with the readings of the minutes of the previous meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. There are various communications on file. Make sure that you read through some of them and all right, now to begin the public comment.
We do have one speaker signed up, and that is Jay Martin.
Good evening. I'm Jay Martin. I reside in the village of Accord, town of Rochester. I am a past president of the Ulster County Sportsmen's Federation, Warsing Sportsman's Club, Petersco Sportsman's Club, and if you haven't noticed, I'm also past my prime. I'd like to thank you for adopting the proposed local law, thereby giving 12-year-old and 13-year-old teenagers in the county of Ulster the opportunity to hunt white-tailed deer under the auspices of a mentor who must be within basically elbow distance of that youth. So I thank you for that passage. My 11-year-old grandson, who will be 12 by the opening of deer season, also thanks you, and many other 12 and 13-year-olds in Ulster County. Thank you.
Is there anyone up signed up? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak? One last time, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak? Having none, make a motion to adjourn the public comment.
I don't think that's necessary.
I don't have to make a motion, actually, so I want to get agreeable tonight.
All right, let's do it, Dave.
And it's a bipartisanship. Okay, the the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we can move resolutions 290, 299, 303, 326, and 327 from non-consent to consent.
Without objection.
You concur? Okay. So moved as amended, the consent agenda.
On the consent agenda, we are a short yes with the following abstentions. Resolutions 321 and 299 by Legislator Cahill for the purpose of family employment, and Resolution 327, Legislator Ushatel for the purpose of employment.
And the Republican caucus is a short yes, I believe, without any abstentions.
Very good, thank you.
The resolutions are adopted 21-0 with the exception of Resolution 299 and 321. They are adopted 20-0 with one abstention, Legislator Cahill. And Resolution 327 is adopted 20-0 with one abstention, Legislator Ushatel.
On the non-consent agenda.
On the non-consent agenda, 238 and 239 were postponed in committee. 283, authorizing the chair of the Ulster County Legislature to enter into a lease agreement with Higginsville Station, LLC for Board of Elections office and storage space, Department of Public Works, Buildings and Grounds.
Leader Ronk.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think that what this boils down to in part is, somebody didn't follow the 7 Ps. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Something that I was taught, growing up and then going to school. I think that person in his office is the county executive's office. And now we're sitting here in front of us with a lease, which to me is a $2 solution to a $1 problem. And I really, I understand where the folks on the other side of this are coming from. But last month, we postponed this. And when we we referred it back to committee. When we referred it back to committee, we were told by both deputy county executives who were present that we had no 60-day termination clause, for any or no reason like we do in the rest of our contracts and leases. And that we were also told that it is not a final document. Then, for those who weren't able to make the Laws and Rules Committee meeting, at the first Laws and Rules Committee meeting that we had, a special meeting on just this subject, which went for, I believe, more than 2 hours, we were told by the deputy county executives once again that we had no termination clause, that if we did have a termination clause, we would be required to put in some sort of liquidated damages based on the build out, and that they weren't sure if that was going to be able to go through or not. Then Public Works folks who were there piped up at that point of the conversation and said, well, we do have a termination clause. And it was given final approval by the real estate company and the owner of the property. And then after that meeting, I was told by one of the deputy county executives that he was able to weasel in or shouldn't say weasel, that's not the right way to put it. He was able to wedge in a termination clause without liquidated damages, but only after 3 years. And then my attorney and legislative counsel and others had a conversation with the county attorney where they said that there was indeed a 60-day termination clause for any or no reason, like is in the rest of our contracts and leases. All of those things happened in the period of a month, in the last month. Between last legislative meeting and this legislative meeting. And the only thing that shows me is that nobody really knows what, in the executive's office or what we're doing here with this lease. I understand we have a problem to solve. I understand that the Board of Elections space could be better. Some say it's inadequate. I think it's not ideal, but adequate. Another thing that no one is focusing on is that I've been told, and I'm not sure if it's the truth or not, secondhand, that the county has absolutely no intention of ending the lease on Wall Street with this horrible, inadequate property, which we heard last month has rats and it's terrible space, and the landlord doesn't do repairs and everything we've heard at the legislative meeting, followed by the Laws and Rules Committee meeting, followed by another Laws and Rules Committee meeting, followed by another Laws and Rules Committee meeting. I'm told that we don't have any intention of leaving there, and in fact, one of the problems that this solves for the county executive's office is that it's enough room to house many of the ADAs that the legislature approved the hiring of or the funding for last month. So again, there are still so many unanswered questions here, and about it being a $2 solution to a $1 problem, we have one portion of the Board of Elections which is going to lose its space. We are at the Wall Street location, I believe, until 2025. We have a long-term lease there. We're not in jeopardy of having to leave there unless we decide to for any or no reason, which I don't believe that we're going to do. So we're solving the machines problem, which isn't really a problem yet because we're not going to have to be out of there until at least after the first of the year. I think it's going to be much later than the first of the year. But now we're solving both problems. We're paying more than double. Currently in the lease at Wall Street, many people may know or may not know, we actually have utilities included there. We're going to have to pay the utilities as well as all the rest of the triple net costs at the Higginsville property. Again, it's better space, but better space comes at a price. And a lot of these costs that are being added on at the back end are not being figured in when the executive's office and the Public Works Department tells us that this is on the low end of lease space in the area. It actually is on the higher end of lease space in the area when you add in the school taxes and utilities and everything else that we're paying for. Again, everyone's going to do what they're going to do. I understand the desire to move forward on this. I just think that if we're going to spend, an extra $350,000 on rented space, I think that there are departments that need space worse than the Board of Elections, before that. So for those reasons, I'm going to be a no tonight, and thank you.
And anyone else? All right, I'll call over the vote, but Leader on that.
On the resolution, we are a short yes.
On the resolution, we're a short yes with the following noes. Legislators Ronk, Mayo, Corcoran, and Bruno.
The resolution is adopted 17-4. Resolution 290 was moved to consent. Resolution 294, creating, which has become funding, 2 full-time positions within the Department of Social Services and amending the 2021 Ulster County budget, Department of Social Services.
On the issue, Legislator Ronk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have every confidence that this is going to pass as well. I'm going to be a no tonight on this resolution, and will continue to be a no on any resolution that creates new positions or funds new positions that are not grant funded, prior to the discussion of the 2022 county budget. We spent a lot of money last month on the DA's office, which for the first year is funded and is not funded moving forward. So that $500,000 is going to come out of the county taxpayer's pocket. We're gonna, we'll have to figure that out at budget time. How we're gonna, shoehorn. It's almost, it's like 0.75% on the tax levy, or a commensurate lowering of expenses someplace else. And now this month we had another, $100 and something thousand worth of new positions that were put in outside of the budget process. If you don't include the recovery positions that were proposed as well, which would have come out of the recovery money. County Executive Hine and I former County Executive Hine and I used to have, discussions that, the county's only ever, one term of the legislature or one term of the county executive from fiscal ruin. All you need is a county executive or a legislature with a spending problem. And we're taking an awful lot of money, and for good reasons, we're taking an awful lot of money out of the unexpended fund balance this month. And it's of deep concern to me that there are all these positions being created or funded outside of the budget process. That's why we're the appropriators. We're supposed to be the ones that are deciding what gets funded and what doesn't. And I don't think that just saying, okay, well, the county executive put this resolution, so we'll approve it. I don't think that's us doing our due diligence. So I'll be a no on this. I have every confidence it's going to pass. But for those reasons, I'll be a no on this and any future attempt before the 2022 county budget to create or fund new positions.
Anyone else on the issue? Seeing none, I call for the vote. Leader Ebner?
On the resolution, we're a short yes.
On the resolution, we are a short yes with 3 noes, legislators Ronk, Roberts, and Mayo.
The resolution is adopted 18 to 3. The rest of the resolutions have been moved to consent or postponed in committee or defeated in committee, which leaves us with Resolution 315, authorizing design work for improvements to the county courthouse in and for the county of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $200,000 and authorizing the issuance of $200,000 bonds of said county to pay the costs thereof. Bartels. Yes. Bruno.
Yes.
Cahill.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Criswell.
Yes.
DeLon.
Yes.
Donaldson.
Yes.
Gaveras.
Yes.
Green. Haynes. Hefner.
Yes.
Blitz.
Yes.
Lopez.
Yes.
Mayo. Harity.
Yes.
Teague. Roberts.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
Uchitel.
Yes.
Walter. And Wara. The resolution is adopted 21 to 0.
Already pursuant to our new rules, public comment on subjects not currently before the legislature. They can talk on any subject they wish. Is there anyone signed up for that?
There is not.
Does anyone in the audience wish to speak? You can talk on anything from Tibet to Port Ewan. Does anyone wish to speak? Having
That's
heard
still my
none,
favorite one, Mr. Chairman, was the
I'll
Tibet.
close that. Well, we had one on Tibet.
The Tibet comment, public comment, was my favorite one of all of the 14 years I've been here.
Okay. Now we'll go into the meetings adjourned in memory. Legislator Tom Corcoran.
Former legislator, the Honorable James D. O'Reilly, Sorbies, New York. Former legislator, Honorable Paul J. Hansen, Highland, New York. Dennis Doyle's mother, Dolores Doyle, Cottikill, New York. Legislator Fabiano's brother-in-law, Victor Albright Jr., Sarasota Springs, New York. Elminia Ellie L. Gardner, Gardner, New York. Gunter F. Hendrich, Plattekill, New York. Marcia DeAngelis, Sorbies, New York. Raymond E. Bianco, Marlborough, New York. Minette E. Vanacor, Marlborough, New York. Brian S. Barnes, Fort Ewan, New York. Dr. Albert J. Williams Myers, Kingston, New York. Richard T. Carrigy, Highland, New York. Patricia A. Richters, Kingston, New York. Father of former legislator T.J. Briggs, Thomas C. Briggs, Fort Myers, Florida. Michael Hines, Highland Falls, New York. Philip E. Greer, Kingston, New York. Irene H. Courtney, Esopus, New York. Robert P. Keller, New Paltz, New York. Elizabeth R. Wainshoe, Kingston, New York. Vinnie McLaughlin's uncle, Franklin H. Auer, Greenville, New York. Michael P. Stoltz, Highland, New York. Richard A. Schaefer, Marlborough, New York. Robert L. Aniski, Marlborough, New York. Stuart H. DeWitt, Xena, New York. Donald Shoemaker, Oakley, Hurley, New York. John J. Gilfeather, Red Oak, New York. John A. Simpson, Rosendale, New York. I'd just like to say a few words about Paul Hansen, who's a former Town of Lloyd supervisor, friend, Town of Lloyd police officer, City of Poughkeepsie police detective, and former Ulster County legislator. Paul battled pancreatic cancer for some time and lost his battle this past Saturday. Paul was truly a dedicated family man, friend to both family and community. He was the true definition of a public servant. very few people who were dedicated to this community as Paul was. He made a true impact on his hometown of Highland, but also Marlborough, Dutchess County, and Ulster County. My heart goes out to Gina and their kids, Paul and Megan, and the rest of the Hanson and Alfonso families that they deal with this devastating loss. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, but I didn't actually see that James O'Reilly was on this list, and I didn't even know it until it just got read. I served with Jim my first term here. He was on the legislature, and at that point, there used to be 33 members. There were 26 Republicans. You guys would like that. And there was 7 Democrats. Jim was one of the Democrats that served, and from Saugerties. And he was a wonderful gentleman. It was a pleasure to serve with. And of course, Paul Hanson, a number of us have served with him. And he was always a gentleman and a pleasure to serve with. And if anybody else has anyone to add or to say anything, Legislator Uchitel?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Donaldson. I just wanted to take a moment to recognize Dr. Albert J. Williams-Myers from Kingston. He was a professor of Black Studies at SUNY New Paltz and also had a significant impact on the Kingston community. And in addition to that, he was also the former director of the New York African American Institute, a member of the New York State Freedom Trail Commission, and main historian for the African Burial Ground Interpretive Center in New York City. So someone who resided here that had an impact well beyond the boundaries of Ulster County.
Yeah, he also served on various boards. Legislator Rob?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just, want to say a couple words about a couple of the individuals. Paul Hanson was a great friend, a great public servant. I had the pleasure, most of the time, of serving as his majority whip when he was the majority leader of the legislature. Paul was with us on the legislature when, Golden Hill was privatized, and that was probably the biggest thing that he worked the hardest on, while he was with us before he, went on to bigger and better things in the town of Lloyd, running the show down there. And the one thing I'll say about Paul, and I mean this with love in my heart, not with any malice, Paul could get a little angry sometimes. He had a little bit of a temper. I think anybody that served with him back then remembers he had a little bit of a temper sometimes. And I never fully grasped where the temper would come from. I figured, he's a police officer, he's just got that cop mentality. And then I became the majority leader, and I found out exactly why. So, I'm going to miss him, but I know that he's watching over us. And I want to say a couple things about Gunther Heinrich, the former police chief in the town of Plattekill. Gunther was a really great man and a public servant until the day before he passed. The day before he passed away, he was serving as a crossing guard at the Walk Hill High School graduation, and we got to share some words together because I was there on standby with the Walk Hill Ambulance Corps and the Plattekill Ambulance Corps. Right down to his last day, he was right there doing what he loved, serving his community and making sure that the kids and the visitors, at the graduation were safe. So I know he's going to be missed. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see read of the passing of Brian Barnes. I know he was a huge advocate for public access, and I don't know how many people realize that. Brian, for a good while, would pick up the footage from our legislature meetings and then put it over to Town of Asoka so it could loop on the public access channel. So this is the first I'm hearing of his passing, and I'd like to offer my condolences to his family. Thank you.
Thank you. Legislator Roberts?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to say a few words about Paul, keep it short because you really can't, it's hard to talk about it without getting emotional. Paul's a friend and colleague. I miss him, and please keep the Hanson family in your thoughts and prayers. And if you don't know, the services are Thursday down in Highland, I think from 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock, something like that. Kenny did mention Gunther, he was dedicated police chief in Plattekill. I'd
entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by legislator Ronk. All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn. The next meeting, the next regular meeting of the legislature will be held on Tuesday, August 17th, in 2021, at 7 p.m. in the legislative chambers on the 6th floor of the Ulster County Office Building, 244 Fair Street, Kingston, New York. Resolution deadline is Friday, July 23rd, 2021, at noon. Have a nice evening.